So let's talk about something huge that's happening all around us right now. Technology is completely rewriting the rules for our jobs, for our sense of right and wrong, and even for how we fund progress itself. It's a lot to take in, so where do we even start? Well, it really all kicks off with this one question, doesn't it? It's the one everyone's thinking about. It's personal, it's maybe a little bit scary, but it cuts right to the heart of this massive digital shift we're all living through. And the answer, well, it's not a simple yes or no, it's way more complicated than that. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to zoom out a bit. We are right in the middle of what people are calling the fourth industrial revolution. And just like the revolutions that came before, this one is changing, well, pretty much everything. I mean, just look at the timeline here. We went from steam engines to electric assembly lines over many, many decades. Then came automation. But this fourth wave, digitalization, is a totally different beast. The speed, the sheer scale of it, it's connecting the entire globe in a way that's unlike anything humanity has ever experienced before. And this brings us to a really, really crucial point. Technology doesn't just kill jobs, it changes them. We don't have lamplighters anymore because of electric streetlights, but that created jobs for electricians. The same thing is happening now. We're seeing brand new roles pop up that would have sounded like pure science fiction just a few years ago. But of course, this kind of rapid-fire change creates some enormous challenges. We're not just talking about jobs disappearing. We're talking about needing a whole new rulebook for our digital world. How do we make sure the gap between the rich and the poor doesn't turn into a chasm? And how do we make sure that work in this new age is still fair, safe, and actually gives people dignity? See, navigating all this isn't just a technical puzzle to be solved with better code. It's a moral one. It really forces us to stop and ask not just what can technology do, but what should it do? And that's where we need some kind of ethical blueprint for the future we're building. At its heart, technological ethics is basically our compass. It's the set of principles we need to make sure the tools we're creating are actually helping people, respecting our basic rights, and building a more fair world, not one that's more divided. And look, this is not just some abstract idea for philosophers to debate. This is a real, powerful demand from the generation that's actually building and inheriting this digital world. They see all the incredible potential for good, but they're putting a condition on it, a big one. It absolutely has to be built on a foundation of ethics. We see these tough questions everywhere. I mean, should an AI get to decide if you get a job or a loan, especially if we know it might be biased? How do we protect our privacy when everything is being tracked? And what about the insane amount of energy it takes to power the servers that run our digital lives? These are the ethical minefields we have to cross. All right, so we've laid out the challenges, and we know we need an ethical framework. But that leads us to the billion-dollar question, literally. How do we pay for the solutions? This is where things get really interesting, because a whole new world of finance is being created specifically to tackle these huge global problems. You see, the old ways of doing things, like traditional aid, just aren't built for the complex problems we face today. What you're seeing here is a visual of a whole new toolkit that's emerging. We're moving away from just funding projects to actually financing massive system-wide changes using these new tools. Let's make this real with an example. If you look at what's happening in Colombia, you can see these thematic bonds in action. The money is aimed at very specific goals. 30% goes into green bonds for environmental work. 45% goes to social bonds for things like job programs. It's a way to make absolutely sure that big investments are tied directly to good outcomes. Now, this right here is one of the most powerful ideas in this new toolkit. It's called payment by results. The core idea is incredibly simple. Instead of paying for effort, you pay for success. I know this chart looks a little complicated, but trust me, this concept is a total game changer because it shifts the focus to actually solving the problem. Let me break it down. So how does this actually play out? It's basically a four-step process. First, private investors front the money. Then, a service provider, say a nonprofit, runs the program. Third, and this is the crucial part, an independent third party comes in and measures if the agreed-upon goals were actually met. Finally, if they were, a big funder, like a government rep, repays the investors, plus a little extra. If the project fails, the investors lose their money. It's all about results and accountability. Okay, so now we can start to see how all these different pieces of the puzzle actually fit together. We've got the massive challenge of this digital age, we've got the ethical principles to guide us, and now we have these incredible new tools to actually build the solutions.
And this is where it all comes together in a really clear way. You can think of it as a roadmap. The challenge is job displacement, right? So the principle is we need to reskill people. And the tool to do that could be a social impact bond that funds job training. Worried about climate change? The principle is sustainability. And the tool is a green bond. It connects the problem, the value, and the solution.
And really, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this idea. We are shifting our entire mindset. It's not enough to just fund a project here and there anymore. We have to think bigger. We have to finance deep, lasting, transformational change. So ultimately, this is where we land. All the pieces are on the table, we have the ethical compass to point us in the right direction, and we have this amazing new financial toolkit to power the journey. The only question left, really, is for us. Do we have the collective vision and the will to use these things to build the future we actually want to live in?